Hi guys, I'm GTDae, the Average Joe Gamer, and another week flew by. So let's do another week in review for the week of 19 to 25 March 2018. On a personal front, I was very excited to see 3.1 going to a wider PTU release on Wednesday. It was a bit of a struggle to get it downloaded due to my internet going down for a whole day. The first time I could really sit down and play some Star Citizen was on Friday, just after 3.1i was released. This iteration of the patch was quite terrible as I had great frames when I logged in, but as soon as I started flying around it got really bad really quick, down to about 7 to 10 frames per second, which is pretty much unplayable. I did get to play around with a character customizer, which is great. The functionality is really basic, but at least there will be some variety in the game now. I got a chance to fly the Reclaimer and the Terrapin in Arena Commander Free Flight, and I will do a walkthrough of each of the new flyable ships and the Cyclone during the coming week, so keep an eye on the channel for that. There was a lot of community content that I found really good. The Redacted Podcast was a two-man show this week with only WTFosaurus and Twerk17. Sadly, Board Gamer has opted to reduce his participation to a part-time contributor for the Redacted Podcast in order for him to focus on his own stream team. He will still occasionally make an appearance, and that will open up a slot for others to take part more regularly, and I look forward to getting some more diverse opinions from other community members. I highly recommend that you watch the VOD of the podcast on the Redacted YouTube channel. They discussed some interesting topics this week, with a shout out to Commander 420 for a really good question this week. I can also happily recommend watching the podcast live on Wednesdays. It is hosted by WTFosaurus on his Twitch channel, links in the description below. Now let's move on to the official Star Citizen content, starting with Calling All Devs. If you haven't seen an episode of Calling All Devs yet, this is the Monday program where Jared takes questions from the community and put them to the most qualified developer. This week's show was loaded with some pretty good questions overall, so let's jump in and check out what the devs had to say. There are no plans for rock climbing in the near future. I never thought about this mechanic in the game, but it could open up some interesting gameplay in the future. For trading gameplay, the idea in the future is to have trading information available on the star map. That will enable players to click a planet and see the economic status and the trade information. That will help us plan our trade routes to buy certain things at certain places and selling them for a good profit somewhere else. That really sounded like an eventually type answer, so I wouldn't hold my breath for such implementations anytime soon. You will not be able to swap radar screens. However, 2D radar MFDs will be able to display a 3D radar with the render to texture technology. EVA between two fast-moving ships is not planned for the near future. Also, catching out-of-control pilotless ships aren't really something they are working on because they would need a reason to do that. E-war mechanics are planned for the future, but nothing really in the near future other than EMP. For the long-term future, there are plans for ship hacking, signal jamming, counter-hacking, and data running gameplay. EMP is being balanced by increasing the cooldowns on EMP components and increasing the power drain on your ship when using the EMP. The EMP radius is also being reduced to force players to really commit to the EMP effect. Again, some fascinating questions from the community with some really interesting answers from the devs. Now let's move on to Around the Verse. ATV is where we get the progress reports and also some interesting featurettes on the development of the game. This week we had an LA studio update. The character customizer is in polish phase and the UI team is hard at work to make it as easy as possible to work with in the game. As I've said earlier, I've had some fun with customizing my character when I got onto the PTU on Friday, and while it was pretty intuitive, I really missed at least some facial hair options and a skinhead option in the hairstyles tab. Again, there was a lot of work done on the aesthetics of the procedural planets. There was also mention of dynamic weather effects, which was quite interesting as it wasn't something that I've anticipated this early on in the development, but I can't wait to see what will be implemented for 3.1. The player hangars are currently in grey box phase and they plan to make them truly modular in order for the hangars to fit into many different locales and environments. The new player hangars are not on the current roadmap, but I'm really curious to see what they're up to where the hangars are concerned. I really hope we get something piratey like the VG industrial hangar scaled to fit all the ships available in the verse right now. The Planets and Environment team made progress on the Hurston planet and it's in grey box phase. The Hero landing zone Lorville is being planned using procedural planet tech and I can't wait to see it. Hurston's moon Ariel is in white box phase with some really interesting sulfur like salt flats and it's quite different from anything we've seen so far. The The performance optimization tasks are getting close to finishing and the team are making good progress on meeting the 3.1 goals. It will be an ongoing process throughout the development of Star Citizen, and CIG believes that the performance gains will be easily experienced. Let's hope the optimizations live up to our heavy expectation. For the rest of the ATV, there was a great discussion on the use of sound in the game. It was very interesting to see and hear how the sound is used to immerse players into the verse using layered sound. It was really insightful, and the depth of the sound design was really surprising. Now, I can't play the game without noticing some of the interesting sounds. It really is like Chris Roberts said on the beginning of ATV, that if sound is done well, it is something you don't really notice. This part of ATV didn't have a lot of tangible news to cover, but it is well worth a watch. Next, let's move on to Reverse the Verse. This week's RTV featured Chris Roberts himself, and he revealed the 3.2 feature survey. The idea of the survey is to see which features the community most want to see in 3.2. This is a very important survey, and I think all backers should vote on the features they are most excited about. So let's jump into RTV and see what Chris Roberts and CIG has in store for us in 3.2. Chris Roberts insists that the quarterly release schedule is hard targets which they are fully committed to hit. This is very exciting because that means that we will see new features and gameplay added on a regular basis. Chris seemed to be happy with the performance of 3.1 when compared to 3.0. In fact, he said it is definitely performing better. He reminded us that performance optimization is an ongoing process and that we can expect better performance when things such as object container streaming comes online. CIG is in the process of reviewing the features planned for 3.2 to make sure that they have enough time to complete a good subset of features in time for the quarterly schedule. This might mean that some big features are being moved to future releases instead. CIG streamlined the teams at the beginning of the year to be more efficient in resolving issues and completing tasks. This was successful in that they saw major increases in the resolution of issues and the completions of tasks per day between 3.0 and 3.1 as opposed to before the release of 3.0. As a way to understand what players want most for 3.2, CIG introduced the feature survey. That way they can focus on certain features and it will help CIG decide on which features to bump for 3.3. The survey is a basic questionnaire asking players to choose the 3 most important features for 3.2. The features in the list are as follows. Quantum linking. This enables multiple ships to quantum travel to the same destination in the same jump. Improved interdiction. This will enable players to disrupt the quantum travel of player characters and NPCs alike using interdiction module or a deployable quantum jammer like a buoy or a mine. Improved service beacons. This will give players greater variety on contract types, filters, and outcomes. First tier guilds and associations. CIG will create member associations that will give players different benefits in the game. For example, the United Wayfarers Club provides repair and refuel assistance for pilots broken down in space and also grants them discounts for these services at CryAstro. The party system. This will allow for cooperative gameplay where players can accept and complete missions together. Team chat. Improvements to the in-game chat systems to allow players to communicate better in-game when they play together. Economy and shopping UI experience. This is the implementation of shopping kiosks to buy weapons and ship items in-game. Item 2.0 ship systems and weapons. This will enable the effects of wear and tear on items to make a difference on the performance of ships depending on how they are configured. FPS AI combat. This will be an improvement on missions as you might encounter aggressive NPCs at certain points during your mission. And lastly, there is a profession survey where we can choose which profession CIG should work on after the implementation of mining in 3.2. This whole survey will shape the development of 3.2, so do take some time in choosing what you feel is the most important. I will put a link of the survey in the video description. During the coming week, I will make a video on my choices and why I feel they are important. So that's the basic gist of RTV this week. In other news, the new flyable ships had their prices increased, but you're still able to buy it for the original price on Warbot. This means that a cash purchase of these ships will be cheaper than using store credit. Remember that you don't have to spend real money to buy these ships as they will be available in the game at some point for Alpha UC. But if you are able, it's a great way of supporting Star Citizen's development. So that about covers the news from the official Star Citizen sources. Over the next week, I will spend as much time in the PTU as I can, diligently contributing to the issue council. I will also be collecting footage on the new flyable ships in preparation for preview videos. Keep an eye on the channel for videos about the Reclaimer, Terrapin, Cyclone and the rest. There will be a lot more content to get through during this week as we expect the release of 3.1 on Friday or Saturday. Let's hope that they can iron out the hiccups in the current PTU build quickly and be ready for an official release at the end of the week. I think I've eventually settled on a name for the Week in Review series, and I will debut the new title in next week's video, so watch this space. Thank you for watching the third episode of the Week in Review series, and I hope there was some content that you enjoyed. If you did like it, give it a thumbs up below and a thumbs down if you didn't. Comment below on what you like and what you dislike, and I will make an effort to improve. In the video description, you will find the links to all the content that we've covered today, and while you're down there, check out my social media links and follow me there for more content. I would also massively appreciate it if you would support me on Patreon. Thanks to those of you who are already doing so, you are my absolute heroes. Another way of supporting me is by visiting my merch store at designbyhumans.com/shop/GTDae. I'm GTDae, the average Joe gamer, and once again, thank you for watching, stay awesome, and I will see you in the next one.